No.
See? So today it says that that with regard to the root of every nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the collective of Israel on high, and we're talking nefesh, ruach, and neshama is 3 levels of the soul. We have 5 levels of the soul. As we have discussed before, we have ruach, nefesh, and neshama. Ruach is the behavioral action-based level of the soul. This is where we act. It's instinctive. You have the nefesh. Nefesh is that the instinctive, the behavior. Ruach is emotions, and neshama is intellect. Okay, so we were saying that the root of every level of the soul of the collective of Israel in high, when the souls descend level by means of unfolding progression of the worlds of Atzilut, Beria, Yetzira, and Asiya, as we've learned before. I'm going to repeat all these concepts because even the ones that are here that have been here for a long time, they need to be reminded. So Hashem, the never-ending light, the Or Ein Sof, decided that he decided that he desires, okay, a world, a lower world. So in order to build this lower world where we are, which is the world of Asiya, which is the lowest one from the 4 worlds, is the world of action. He needed to contract his light. He needed to do a tzimtzum and contract his light from this never-ending light. He started contracting through these 4 worlds of Atzilut, which is the world of emanation, Beria, world of creation, Yetzira, world of formation, and this lower world, which is where we are, which is pitch black. There's no light. There's no light here. It's called the world of Asiya, where we live, which is a world of action. Okay? So again, with the same concept of the Malchut, that is the lowest part of the body, which you would say it's the lowest of the lowest, you would say Asiya is the lowest of the lowest, but in reality, Asiya connects to the highest of the highest. Because the other worlds, as high and godly and angelic and incredible as they can be, they don't have an effect on anything. They can do anything. They just are basking in the rays of glory, and they have no action. And that is the power of a human being, a person that is alive and breathing, that as hard as the exile can be, we can do stuff. We can do things that can change the world. And every mitzvah we do, every Torah learning we take, every good action we do, what happens? Imagine this is a cone. We're in the tip of the cone, and a Jew comes. Today, we have a beautiful group of women that took time of their day to come and learn Torah. What's happening here? Suddenly, that all that light that's being created here through the learning of the Torah goes out of the cone and connects to the infinite. And that only can happen here, nowhere else. So the tragedy of death, that's the tragedy, is that you cannot do it anymore. And I remember many years ago, we were in a class of Tisha B'Av, I think it was, with Rebbetzin, Zipporah, Brusenwanken. And she's a genius, because she's a Tversky. and I asked her, Rebbetzin, I'm so sorry. Why? God, we're not gonna get it. I think this was like 30 years ago. I said, we're not gonna get it. We're the same as you read to history. Same thing, every generation. You have this, you have that. People don't get it. What are we gonna do? Yeah, Mashiach now. And she said, Margie, you don't understand. You don't understand. Every Jew that comes and learns Torah in this year, let's say we're in the year 5786, every Jew that puts on tefillin, every Jew that walks in Times Square with a kippah on his head, today is even more than in those days, every Jew that still goes and eats kosher and pays extra for eating kosher, you know, that's what love Hashem loves. It's such a pleasure for him. He says, and the effect that a Jew can do in the times of galut, of exile, is an opportunity that's never going to repeat itself ever again in the history of the world. So yes, we want Mashiach, for sure. If Hashem calls today and says, you want it now? Yeah, I'm for it. I'm ready. But while we wait and while we're waiting for it, don't take for granted everything you do. Don't take it for granted, because every little thing you do for Hashem or for another Jew, which is when you do for another Jew, you're really doing for Hashem, is so priceless. Like there's no money that can pay that, because it's only in this world that you can do it. So imagine if I take you on a cruise for 8 days and I tell you, you have 8 days in this cruise. 8 days, you're not going to have a headache, you're not going to have a stomachache, you're not going to have any ailments, you're just 8 days in this cruise. You can eat all you want, you're not going to get fat. You can go to that beautiful gym with a view of the ocean. There's not going to be a rocking of the boat. Everything's going to be perfectly perfect. What are you going to do? You're going to take advantage. Oh, I don't have a worry in my life. Since the day I come in till the day I leave, everything's going to be perfect. I'm not going to have any issues. I'm just going to enjoy this ride. I'm going to eat everything I can. I'm going to dance every song they play. I'm going to go to every show they have. I'm going to play the poker all night, right? Think about it. You're not going to be thinking, oh, my father-in-law, he's not feeling well. They're calling me. What should I do, right? You have 8 days of doing whatever you want without any worries in your life. You're going to take advantage of it. So if I could tell you, like, hey, you're in this perfect cruise, perfect, focus, Torah mitzvahs. I'm not saying that you don't have other things to take care of. Obviously, there's things going on in your life. I have a list from here to the roof that could really balance you off. But if you focus on your mission, on your purpose, what you have to do today, what is your opportunity of the moment? What is Hashem needing me for today? And this concept of needing, which people say, no, Hashem doesn't need you. Manny's Friedman just came out with an incredible book, Are We Needed? And in reality, we are. From the never-ending light, the Ein Sof, down through these worlds, this creation, he does need us. Because Esther puts a beautiful day of Yom Ha'atzmaut, and she brings lunch, and she brings a singer, and she brings classes. Okay, but if you're not here, hey, what are we gonna do with the flowers and the flags and the food? So the same is with Hashem. He puts a beautiful world. He puts this world out. This is your playground. Come and play. Grab your tree, grab your swing, come play. This is your playground. But if no kids come to the playground, what is that playground for? So Hashem made this beautiful world so we can come and we can not only learn Torah, do mitzvot, but we have to enjoy it. We have to enjoy it. We have to make it happy. We have to serve Hashem with joy. It has to be joyful. And how do we do that? By meditating. This is not forever. This is not forever. This is a time in the creation that Hashem puts this time for us to do things that are going to be eternal and that are going to make this beautiful world what it's intended to be. Okay? So here he says the essence and nature of the soul root that originates in the supernal wisdom. Supernal wisdom is the Chokhmah Ilahah, which when we talk about the supernal wisdom, we're talking about the world of Atzilut, which is the world of emanation. Hashem is throwing his light. It's emanating. It's not creating. It's only rays of the sun going out. It says, does not shine at its full strength in every person, just as the energy of the father does not manifest at its full strength in every limb of the child. So we were discussing before that the drop of semen comes from the brain of the Father. It's created in the brain of the Father, and then it trickles down to wherever it needs to go to become a drop of semen, and then it goes and it creates a baby with the egg of the mother. So that's an analogy that's used in this book to describe the way that Hashem, the creation process of God to bring a person into the world, okay? So every one of you were in Hashem's mind at the moment that he is emanating his light. Your thought, you're part of him. There's a godly soul, Neshama Elokit, a mamish, a piece of Hashem within you, and that spark was created in Hashem's wisdom, whatever that means. Okay, we're talking in human terms, which the Torah talks in human terms, so we can understand God, so we can relate to God, not understand, because we're never going to be able to understand, but to relate. Okay. So just as the Father created material must descend level by level and become clothed in the garment after garment until it solidifies into a particular physical cell, the divine spark that is the root of every Jewish soul, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, undergoes a similar progression. The divine spark descends and is clothed in garments after garment until it's manifest in the physical body. So first, Hashem has this emanation, world of Atzilut, light, light, light. Then he starts contracting, and every light starts being created into a separate entity. Then it starts being formed, and then eventually comes into this world. And it's put inside of an individual body, and that's why we all look different. We all think different. We all like different stuff. Some are tall, some are short, some are more intelligent. Doesn't matter. In this world, each one of us has an identity, and we are identifiable by each one being each one. Like I'm here, I'm sitting, I'm Margie, I can pinch myself, I can feel, I exist, right? But if we trace back the godly spark that's within me, and I trace yours and yours and yours and everybody's spark, and we trace them back and we send them up back to where they come from, we all come from the same light. And that's why it says, love your fellow like yourself. How can I love someone like me? How can you ask me to love that poor person outside of Sarah's tent that smells horrible, that is asking for tzedakah? How Hashem can ask me to love that person? I don't even know who they are. Because if I trace that spark up, we're one. And that's really one of the meanings of this mitzvah. So as it is written in wisdom, have you made them all? This is in Psalm 104. And Chokhmah is the key to creation. So Chokhmah is wisdom. And we know that we have not only 7 emotional attributes, which are what creates our emotions, we also have in our head 3 intellectual attributes. And so there's 3 dimensions to the brain, to the way that we process information. So we have Chokhmah, we have Bina, and we have Dat. So Chokhmah is wisdom, which is a flash, an insight, an idea. One day, Hester woke up and she said, I have an idea. It would be amazing if there would be a place where women could come and learn Torah, and it would be like a wellness center, and it would be amazing. That would be amazing. That's Chokhmah. And then she has to work her Bina, the understanding, the logistics. Okay, it's a great idea, but what am I gonna do? How can I do this? What's gonna happen? How can I put this together? So she tried to rent a place here. It didn't work. She tried to do this here. This didn't work. Oh, then this is the best place to do it. This is in the middle of here and here. So people from this side of the city can come and people from this side of the city can come. It has parking space. It's a nice place. It has a beautiful view. It has a big, nice table. It's very comfortable, la, 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 la. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give 4 classes in the morning. I'm going to give French classes because I have French people speaking that don't understand English. And then so I'm going to need teachers. So she reaches out to the teachers. Suddenly the teachers drop on her laps. And suddenly She has a whole thing going on. And now for her, this is not Chinese. For her, this is her. This is her. Knowledge is you. You are knowledge. You are what you know. This is strong. This is heavy. So it's very important, and this I'm going to get out of the side, but it's very important to learn what you have to learn and not learn what you don't have to learn. Because when you learn from the wrong places, the wrong information, and you attach yourself to the wrong ideas and the wrong values and morals and ethics, this is what's going to be your knowledge, and eventually you're going to be that person. So that's very important to always only let into your head what is good knowledge, what is going to make you a good person. And this is how everything that happens here trickles down here, and it ends up attaching to your emotions and making you feel things. So Chokhmah is the key to creation. Hashem one day decided, oh, I have an idea, I have a dream, I have a dream of a beautiful world. Oh, it's a beautiful world. I see green trees of green, right? I'm not the best singer, and I'm tone deaf, but he had a dream, and he had a dream that he wanted a place, he wanted a world with where the Torah could be lived. Because the Torah has been existing before the world was created. It was before, it's the blueprint of creation. So yes, you can have a beautiful plan for a house, but if you don't build a house, it's just a plan, right? So the Sephira, the first Sephira in the whole order of progression from conception to physical reality, it constitutes the manifestation of divine light in the creation of the worlds. The nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the ignorant and those who are inferior come into existence through it, the soul's descent. The most ignorant person comes from the same place as Moshe Rabbeinu. It's crazy. But we come from the same place. Nobody comes from a different place. We all come from the same place. So nonetheless, their nefesh, ruach, and neshama are still connected and unified in wondrous and awesome unity with their original essence and being, which is drawn from supernal wisdom. I think, in my humble opinion, that for young mothers that are here, that you have a saying in the school system, it's very important to reinforce in the schools. I know the academics are very important, but children should be taught how valuable they are. And I think that one of the biggest problems of today's society is that people don't value themselves because they don't know how valuable they are. Even today, people are being measured by IQ, if they're intelligent, how much they perform. If a child, God forbid, not God forbid, because it's not a problem, but if a child is autistic or is HDHD or all these DDDs and BDDs and whatever they want to call them, it doesn't fit the cookie cutter of society, then that kid falls through the cracks, and that's why we have so many problems with abuse, substance abuse, and all these issues that come afterwards. And it's because people don't feel whole. They feel broken. And they're not broken, they're perfect.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see a child had ADD or what you call, when they are in a Jewish school, they cannot take care of those children.
I'm saying that it's a problem.
And I feel very bad about it.
It's a problem.
The parents want to give a Jewish education, but what's going on?
It's the cookie cutter. It's the system.
Out.
It's a system. It's a system.
As a
I know.
community,
It's a
we need to
system.
work on it.
It's a system. It's a problem. I agree. It's huge.
Okay. So we need
It's
to
huge. That's what I'm saying. The parents, young parents here, you have a voice. You can make a difference.
Facing a very small thing as a child.
I've lived it.
Yeah.
I've lived it. I've lived it. I've lived it with one of my daughters. I live it with some of my grandchildren.
We need to Do something about it.
That's why I'm saying it's very important to reinforce.
That,
No, I know it gets on my nerves too. It gets on my nerves too. It gets on my nerves too because it's a
and
situation.
those children are so smart,
So smart.
better than a regular.
So smart. So smart. So what we're learning here is that not everybody is built the same way. In the descent of the worlds, when that soul is coming down, if you go to the essence, everybody's the same. But when they're coming down, they're attaching to different places and they're acquiring different traits, different characteristics. So once that soul comes into the world and it's put inside of a body, it's already designed. Okay? It's a design. They're designed. And it's a design that is perfect for the purpose and the mission of this person in this world. So if we start looking at the world and start looking at people, not as another person, but each person carries within themselves a potential of production of what is needed. I go again here, needed, that word, in the world. That person comes to do in this world something that nobody else can come and do. Okay? And so if we come and teach people, and I teach people and women, I teach women, tons of women, this idea that you're not flawed, that you're not flawed, you're not a mistake. Nobody made a mistake with you. You come into this world exactly by design, with the stamp of Hashem, with a purpose and a mission in this world. And that's why you're made like that. I have a daughter. She has no visual memory whatsoever, zero. Till third grade, she didn't even know how to read because she couldn't remember that the A looked like an A and the B looked like a B. It was a problem. And I had to advocate for her. I hired a special teacher. She, Mrs. King, may she be blessed forever. She came into the school. She took her out of class. It cost me a fortune, but it's an investment. And she came and she taught her through hearing, because she's a great listener, how to learn to read. That sounds crazy. Like, I don't know how someone learns how to read by the ear, but this is the way her head is made. And she went through school and she graduated and she ended up going to NYU and she graduated as a nurse with the honors. They even gave her a scholarship to pursue midwifery in NYU. Eventually, she worked as an in vitro nurse, specializes in vitros. She worked in a very, very important practice in New York. She left the practice because obviously she's a mom of a lot of kids, and right now she can't give her time to anything else. But to show you that, and I remember she was so frustrated in her days. She used to cry so much. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why can't I learn like anybody else? And I remember I told her, because you're not like everybody else. You're not like everybody else. It's okay. You have a different mission.
Don't you think it's channeling yourself, channeling your child into what they can do? You know, to figure out what.
No, I didn't figure out anything. She figured it out herself.
But you
I empowered her. I guided her. I guided her. I guided her.
Yes.
And I told her, I remember, you are a person with a lot of compassion. She was born on the 3rd of Iyar. It's the Netzach Shebe Tiferet, which is the endurance, victory in compassion. And she's exactly that. She never gave up. Yeah. She never gave up. But why? Because she had a group of people that believed in her. And that's what is.
She had you.
She had me. She had me, and she had a whole group of people. She had the teachers. She had her father. People that believed in her greatness. And I tell you, and maybe she wouldn't have been a nurse. Maybe she would have been a secretary. Who knows? Or anything else. Who cares? A cash register in Publix. I don't know. But she had the tools to be what she needs to be. And we cannot make someone less or more because of their makeup. Makeup doesn't define a person. Makeup says zero about a person. What says about a person is how they live their lives and how they behave and how they conduct themselves in the world. That's it. And so even one who has fallen lower than the inferior and ignorant among Israel until there is nowhere else to fall, even the heretic who says that he has no father in heaven has a nefesh, a ruach, and a neshama. Even the Jew that doesn't believe in anybody, doesn't believe in Israel, doesn't believe in Judaism, doesn't believe in God, he has a nefesh, a ruach, and a neshama. And he has a godly spark within him. And you were asking last week about the karet. Mm-hmm. And I want to add to that, to what I said to you, because afterwards I came and asked my husband, he's my rabbi.
About what?
Karet. She asked about karet, about, and it's in this Torah portion, actually. Yeah, in Kedoshim, yeah. And so what is karet? Karet is that the soul is cut from the source. That's what it means. And I explained last week that we have 613 ropes that connect our soul to Hashem, the godly spark to Hashem. We're connected by these 613 ropes. It's 248 positive mitzvot, 365 negative mitzvot. So every time a person does a mitzvah, that rope becomes stronger. And the connection becomes stronger. Every time a person does a sin, an avera, goes against God, does something he shouldn't be doing, that rope gets cut, okay? But a person still has a few ropes to be hanging from, right? And we know that there's teshuvah, and you can always do teshuvah, and this is what I explained. And once a person does teshuvah and returns, what happens to that rope that was cut? It gets tied with a knot, and then suddenly that rope is shorter than the rest of the ropes, and he gets closer to Hashem. That's the teshuvah. You return, but you are closer to Hashem than before you broke the rope. Now, karet, what happens? There's certain sins, very specific sins that are idol worship, murder, and
Not fasting, no.
no, Yom Kippur fasting, but it depends also. There's many, it's not, it's idol worship. It's also adultery, idol worship. It's also not eating bread, leavened foods in Pesach.
Oh, yeah.
It also creates karet. So what is karet? There's certain sins. Karet se corta. So these sins, what happens is like the scissor comes and cuts the 613, and you get disconnected, okay? But for this to happen, it has to be very specific. It's not so, if a Jew has no idea that he has to fast on Yom Kippur, he's not gonna have karet, okay? It has to be a very frum person, a person that knows Torah, and it has to be in certain situations. Because, for example, if Queen Esther, she had it says, some of them of the commentary says that she was married to Mordechai, and she went with Ahashverosh, right? So she knew she could never go back to him, but she didn't have karet. Why? Because it was a moment where she didn't.
For the ultimate good, she had to do it.
She had to do it, because if not, she would have died. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so there's certain things, like, for example, if they tell you bow to the cross and pray to the guy, or you're gonna die, you have to let them kill you.
Oh, really?
Really. Okay? So you have to know halacha, you have to know very well where does this fall, but it's very, very detailed, and it has to be very specific, and it's not just like anybody falls into this category, okay? So that I wanted to.
Yeah, good to know.
And also, even if the person goes by karet, what it means is that he's disconnected. It says that that person doesn't live more than 50 years. There's certain things, but the soul can always come back. A
You
soul
do
can always,
teshuvah?
a soul can always do teshuvah, and he can always amend. It's not like
Sorry.
he's just disconnected from the source. Okay? So continuing here, that we're bound and unified in the primary source, which is drawn from the supernal wisdom, whether a person admits or denies that the reality of his father does not change the essential bond between them. So if a person believes in God or doesn't believe in God, keeps kosher, doesn't keep kosher, learns Torah, doesn't learn Torah, the bond is there. The bond is there. The difference is that the farther away you get from God, you become insensitive. You lose sensitivity to Hashem. That's the problem. And when a Jew learns Torah and he's doing mitzvot and he's praying and he's eating kosher and he's thinking kosher and he's talking kosher and he's living a kosher life, the more sensitive he's gonna become to God. He's gonna be here in his head all day. That's the difference. Sure.
So I heard that like people who are not religious at all, like especially when they don't eat kosher, they're kind of blocked.
Completely.
It's hard for them to do tshuva. So where is the moment where they can, if there's blocked?
I tell people the worst thing you can do in your life is become kosher. You're in big trouble.
Right.
If you start eating kosher, you're gonna be it's like a tuberia in your shower when your hair goes in and it's stuck and the water doesn't go down.
Yeah.
The moment you start eating kosher, it's like the plumber came and he cleaned the whole thing with the snake, and suddenly everything's going. You're gonna be able to understand.
They become setting child all of a sudden. So that's because I was like that.
Look, I'm gonna tell you
So I'm wondering.
I'm gonna tell you a story. Hashem gives you gifts. Sometimes he sends you an awakening from above. Okay, he helps us all the time. Someone is not hearing. What do I do? Yeah, acá. Turn the. How do I do that?
Someone can't hear.
Somebody can't hear.
Is she on mute?
I don't
No.
know.
It's not on mute.
It's my volume, I think.
She should be able to hear. Says the
Maybe
audio.
if we turn it off. How about now?
I think she left.
Set up reflection.
Okay.
See?
Sarah, you here? And Deborah? Yes? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it was their computer. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you a story. So Hashem sends people gifts. Sometimes he sends you an awakening from above. And when he sends you an awakening from above, you have to grab to it. Because just as he shakes you for one moment and you awaken, if you don't act on it, it's the way it comes, the way it goes. So Hashem is always sending us messages. He's never silent, ever. I've seen it everywhere. I used to do Bikur Holim in the Aventura Hospital, and I remember going into the rooms and being with the sick people, and they would cry to me, and they would say, because I would always ask for their Jewish names so we could pray for them, and they would cry. They all had Jewish names. It was incredible. They all had Jewish names, and they would start crying, and they would say to me, like, but I don't practice. I'm such a faraway Jew. And I said, but Hashem loves you. You know, he's sending me, I'm a messenger. Like if I'm here today with you, it's because he's telling you that you're important to him. You matter. So Hashem is always sending gifts and talking to us through people, through situations. I remember once we went on a plane with my husband from Venezuela. It was from Caracas to Miami. It was this plane, Avenza. You remember Avenza? And we're in the plane half an hour into the flight, and suddenly I start getting very dizzy, very dizzy. I'm very dizzy. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And I feel like the plane is going down, but not like this, like this. So I turned to my husband and I said, Roberto, I think this thing is falling down. And he said to me, Margie, I think this thing is falling down. And at that moment, we looked at each other and I held his hand and I said, we're going to die. Huh? Exactly. I held his hand and I said to him, okay, this is our day. This is our day. I don't know why I was so calm. At that moment, I remember my sister's getting married in 15 days. And I look up and I say, Hashem, please. I said, you're going to kill me. And my parents are going to be sitting Shiva with my sister. And then they have to get up and go to a wedding. How do you do that? Like, how is that possible? I was so young. I was 20, 21. And I said to him, I promise you, if you save my life, I'm never eating a shrimp again in my life. And that's all I could think of, like at that time in my life. I will never, ever eat a shrimp again in my life. And at that moment, I don't know how many seconds, minutes, I don't know how long, but you could see the floor already. There was this very famous composer sitting next to me. He was having a heart attack. And we were hugging him and telling him, we can see the land. Don't worry, we can see the land. Like I'm a very funny person. So the funny comes out even in the worst times. And I was praying and I was saying, Hashem, like really, my daughter, she'll grow up nice. My mother would love her and she has no issues. She's gonna be fine. But my sister, my parents, I couldn't believe it. The moment I said, I promise you I'm never eating a shrimp again, that plane went like clack. It's like the whole thing was so I would stop eating shrimp. Okay? And eventually we landed back in Caracas. I came out of the plane, I couldn't walk. My legs were shaking so much, I couldn't walk. Okay, to make a long story short, Baruch Hashem, this is 35 years later. I'm still in this world. Hashem had a plan for me. He said, okay, this lady works. She's good. Let's work out from her. She has a potential. And we eventually got on another plane and came to Miami that same night because my husband had to get to Atlanta and he's like this type of guy, I have to get. And I was like dying, but okay, we did it. And like a few years later, we went to Brazil. And in those days, I'm telling to you, 30 years ago, it's not like today, you jump on a plane and you're in Brazil. Like to get from one place to the next, there was one plane a week. You had to go from here to here to here to here. Los llamaban lecheros. There was no other way to get to places. You had to jump on one plane from one to the next. And we get on this plane in Sao Paulo, which came to Lima, Peru. And from Lima, Peru, we had to go to Quito, Ecuador. And from Quito, Ecuador, we had to get to Bogota. All in one, like 4 countries in one day. And when we get to Quito and we're in the airport, and in these days you didn't have, like today, the airports are so nice. It's like you have to walk to the plane and get up on. And I'm in the window looking, and what do I see? Avenza. And I said, Roberto, that's the plane that's going to take us to Bogota, Avenza? You're crazy. I'm not going to get on the plane. No way in my whole life I'm going to get on the plane. By the way, that plane fell the week after. The week after we got out of that plane crashed, okay? So I'm not getting on Avenza. I'm sorry, Margie, if we don't go on this plane. Another week, we have to stay in Quito, Ecuador. Till next week, we can have another opportunity to get to home. So there was no way out. I had to get on this plane. He was so nice. He bought first class tickets. In those days, it's not with points. It was really paying first class for an hour. And we get on the plane and the ladies with the champagnes, in those days they had champagne at the door. And I'm like, glug, drinking that champagne, like getting drunk. I couldn't even drink in those days, but I don't know. So the lady's looking at me like, what's wrong with this woman? So my husband says to her, I'm so sorry she's acting in this way, but we were in this plane in Caracas, I don't know how many years ago, 2 years ago, and we were supposed to get to Miami, and this is what happened in the plane, and this is trauma, like she's petrified. He says, oh, you were on that plane? And he says, yes, we never knew what happened. What happened? And he says, I'm not going to tell you what happened, because if I tell you what happened, you are never, ever, ever, ever getting on a plane again. The only thing I can say, it's a miracle that you're alive. It's a miracle that you're alive. So, okay, hopefully nobody has to go through these type of experiences in their lives, but Hashem knocks on your door. Hashem is always, hi, I'm here. Hello, can you hear me? And he,
Wake up.
wake up. What's up? What's up? Wake up. Come to me. Come to me. So we have to understand that, yes, we have opportunities to connect with Hashem. He never leaves anybody unattended. It's not, it doesn't exist that Hashem doesn't try with everybody. We have to be in tune. We have to be sensitive. So to finish off, because we have a party, it says, because the nourishment and life force of the nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the ignorant are drawn from the nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the righteous and the sages, who serve as the heads of Israel in their generation. The people of given generations are explained above, a complete structural analog comparable to the human body, and it is composed of head leaders of generations as well. As I explained before, that we are part of a whole body, and sometimes we don't have the capacity to be in a high level, not because we don't have the capacity. It's not because we can't, it's because the makeup doesn't allow us. The makeup, it doesn't allow us. Every person has a different amount of intellect. We all have a limited intellect. Some people have more intellect, less intellect. Some people are more sensitive. Other people are less sensitive. And we are all designed different. So what does he say to finish off today? The way to connect to Hashem is through the tzaddikim. It's through the tzaddikim. If you're not the Moshe Rabbeinu of the generation, if you're not the Rebbe of the generation, the way to get to Hashem is through the tzaddikim, through the heads. And so that's what we do. We take a book from the Alter Rebbe, and we learn his Tanya, and through his teachings, we're able to connect to Hashem. So may we all continue to grow, to expand, to reach the places that we're meant to reach, learning from our sages, from our very holy sages that Hashem planted in this world, to help us commoners, common people, be able to attach ourselves to Hashem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Margie. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.